So before I come to the next topic, if you remember this, we had not created our enterprise till date, okay? And because for creating enterprise, you will be requiring a multiple information, and to get that multiple information, the concept should be very much clear. Enterprise name, it's not required a much understanding. So this is we can mark this as a done part. So today we are going to cover on the legal term, the legal part itself. This today and tomorrow. Hopefully by today and tomorrow we will try to finish the legal part. What are legal entities? What are statutory units are there? So we will try to do it. And then divisions, we know it. What are the division? BUs we had covered it. Reference data set and BU assignment set. When we create a BUs, then you will learn this BU unit assignment set. So the objective is like by today and tomorrow, we should able to cover the legal entity part and the legal information part. Then we are good for creating our own enterprise. So this will give you the kickstart that, okay, now you know how to proceed, what my task I have to perform in an application. So this will be help you. So today is like a main focus lecture, okay, and I want you all should pay attention. Reason is this is the area where most of the people get confused, and then they get stuck with some mistakes, and then it is not a mistake. You can redo the things again, but yes, concept wise should be clear. Okay, so now if we go to our learning path, we are still on the core HRMS part. We had not yet started the payroll. Core HRMS, I am assuming within upcoming 2 weeks we will try to finish, because this is the main part, and payroll is another main area. So core HRMS normally take much time whenever we are starting any course. So core HR, we will finish it within maybe by next week. We'll try to complete the core HRMS part. This week, the objective is that legal entities and the work structure, we should able to finish it. So today we will discuss mainly about the legal entities part. So once that concept is clear, you can see that once that concept is clear, my screen is visible to all of you, na? Can anyone confirm?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's visible. Okay. So we will cover the topic on the legal entity part, and then we will go to the employment model. So this will cover our main high level system configuration part, and then we will come to the work structure. These things will not take much time, and this will be your day-to-day activities in real life scenario. And above one are not your day-to-day activities. This is a one-time implementation efforts which required, and it will spend in these three boxes consume lots of time when we configuring the application. So in your training also, you are spending much time on understanding these three concepts, that how and where the things we need to define it. So if we see from the structure point of view, so if you want to make a picture, or if you want to imagine it, okay, if I want to do the implementation, what all steps do I follow? So we are going from the structural basis. What is my structure? I have covered the organization. You know that what all organization we have covered it from the functional setup point of view. Divisions are there, we have functional areas are there, we have business unit. We have not done the setup, but yes, the concept wise is very much clear to all of us. Today we are going to cover the legal structure, that what are our legal structure, how and where we can able to configure it. And then the last piece will remain the work structure, where means like department, trees, jobs, positions, and other organization setups that we will do it. So this is from the structural point of view. So when we talk about the structure, these three key concepts we should keep in our mind. And then we will go some exercise in doing the transactional database, that how what we have configured, how it is appearing to us. Any question till now?
No, sir.
Okay, so let's start with the legal entity. So what actually mean by the legal entity, we have discussed in the past as well, but these are the few things that we have to keep in our mind. Okay, so whenever we talk about the HR, now I will give more focus and attention on the HR part, because there are the few concepts, or there are the few things which are common. Like, as you know, in the system you had seen the functional areas normally having a shared services. Shared services means these things are used by other modules also, correct? So here I will be giving you the concept on the HR part. we will be touching other areas as well. So you have the full understanding and better understanding. But yes, complete focus on the HR, and you should also understand from the HR point of view. So when we are talking about the HR, we should have a understanding what is a legal employer. We had discussed, someone has given the definition also, that the employee, those who are working under the legal entity, we define this as a legal employer. Say, for example, Reliance Group or Reliance someone or Apple HR something, we can define as a legal employer. So this is my topmost requirement when I'm creating an employee. So we want to, whenever we are doing a hiring of an employee, we will hire in a particular legal employer. So it can be my one of the business unit. Now, last class we had given a business unit concept on combining the department, but there can be the other concept also on the business unit. Like for example, if I have operation in US and UK, okay, and I'm defining, say for example, Apple UK or Apple US, or within the US, I can go drill down in some other location. So that can be my legal employer. So under which organization you are working it, that's normally called as my legal employer. Organization, when I say company, which company, and under which company, which division, or under which division, the which particular area. Always remember that when you are having a legal employer, it must be associated with some legal entity. Okay, so that is a first definition that you have to keep in mind about the legal employer. We will take some example. Second thing is the legal address. This is also very important concept that we have to be make sure that when we're defining the legal entity in the system, there should be defined as a legal address, because whenever we are going and registering a entity or a company or a PLC, LLC or private company or public company, we will be requiring a legal address that from where I am going to operate it. And we had seen it like most of the loans and banking loans are get passed based on the legal address. So this is very much important when we are defining on the legal. So one is legal employer, second is the legal address. Third come my payroll statutory unit from the HR point of view. What all the salary I am paying, we have to give a report to the government. How much we are paying it, like how much tax we are paying, how much income tax we are paying it, how much employee are saving it. So this is required from the payroll point of view. Fourth one is my tax reporting unit, like for which under which tax we are reporting these particular organizations. And then there is a ultimate holding company that we know that topmost enterprise will be remain as a holding company. So four concept is very much important from the HR point of view: legal employer, legal address, PSU, and TRU. So we will go in detail and understand what are these four things which is required in our HR configuration. Now, when you are creating a legal entity, you have to take certain discussion. Now, if you have any question, I will not go and ask again and again. Like if you can raise your hand, and I will pause for a minute or 2 minutes, and then you can raise your question. Any question on these four items? No.
No.
Okay.
No.
Right. Yeah. So next is our.
Sorry. The last bit, which says ultimate holding company, what does that mean?
Ultimate holding company is my enterprise. Like we already discussed about it, because ultimately what happens is that my enterprise can be legal entity, or maybe it having a multiple legal entity. So that is I am defining here as a holding company. Holding company can be a group of companies also.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are certain decisions that you should consider it while creating legal entities. Now, what are those? First is that importance of like doing the transaction. Now, this is mainly related to the finance, so I had not highlighted in some other different color. So this is just for your understanding that, okay, when we are talking about the legal entity, we have to see which company or under what transaction we are doing it. Then what is my relationship with the business unit? This is very important from the HR point of view. So whenever you are going to implement the HR system for any company, you should always ask how many legal entities you are having it. Then when you arise to that, okay, this should be my business unit, or these are my business units should be there. Then what is the relationship between these business units? So maybe what can happen is that, like on other day we were discussing the example of clubbing the back office department into the one of the corporate function or back office function. So maybe we have to change our decision, like, okay, no, this is our main legal entity. From there only we are issuing the visa, or we are giving the pension, or whatever the relationship I am having it with the company. So this is another key point that we have to take it into the consideration. Then what is my relationship with the division while creating a legal entity? Okay, so these are the 2 points we have to be more cautious when we are defining the legal entity. One, the relationship with the BU. Second, the relationship with the division. Fourth is something for the finance people. Sorry. Fourth is something related to the finance people, that what is my relationship with the ledger. So we had seen one structure which having a primary ledger, one is in UK, one is in US, and then we are defining the legal entity. So we have to find out whether we have a single ledger, multiple ledger, or only one ledgers are there. So this is when we are defining it, that comes from the finance point of view. Again, next, relationship with the balance sheet segment. This is also related to my finance, that what is my relationship with the, when I'm defining the chart of account, which balancing segment is going to map with the legal entity. Then relationship with the consolidation, that if I have a companies, how I do consolidate. All these are financials. I have not highlighted in blue. So you just keep in your mind for the reference purpose or just for the knowledge purpose. But yes, these are the point we have to consider when we are defining the legal entity. Then comes the how my intercompany transaction, like if I am a holding company of 30 or 40 or 60 companies, how my transaction is going to be happen. The most important part for HR people is that what is the relationship between my worker assignment and the legal employer. So this is going to be derive my a discussion that, okay, how many legal employees we have to make it, whether 1, 2, 3, 4, or only one is required. So what is the relationship of my legal entity with my worker relationship? Worker means employee and the employer. Then again, a payroll reporting unit, we will go into the detail that what is the relationship between the legal entity and the legal reporting units, how we are reporting it to the government. So these are the few points that we have to put into the consideration while creating or defining the legal entities. Now, what is the relationship between the BU? So normally I explain it. This is just a text. I will not go on the text. You maybe read it from your side. What I had just explained it to you. It is in the text. Just and then.
Just the previous slide, if you can go back, please.
Yeah.
If you can probably let me know once again on this worker assignments and legal employer, what exactly mean by worker assignments?
Okay. So what we mean by worker assignment is, see, there are 2 things are there related to the worker. Worker is my employee only. So when you are working in an organization, Chandan, your record will be stored in the file. For example, your personal information will be there, like your name, your date of birth, your marital status, your dependent detail, your blood group, your phone number, your email address. So this all information is comprises of my personal information. This I am calling this, I am grouping this as a personal information. Then the second things will come is your, what is your grade, what is your position, under which business unit you are working for, what is your work location, correct, who is your line manager, okay, what is your working times. So this information that I am storing in the system, this comprises of my assignments, that okay, this is my worker assignment, or I can call this as a employment information. So assignment mean that in a company, in an organization, what are my assignments, okay, what is my legal contract with the company that I have to work. Say for example, I am a HR payroll person. So my assignment in the organization is that I have to run the payroll for my employees, correct. So this is the assignments I am working for. So this we mean worker employment information or worker assignments. Clear?
So assignments here means both personal and professional information of that particular employee attached with that legal entity or employer, correct?
No, not the personal, only the professional information, and professional information also pertaining to that particular company. So for example, maybe in your previous organization, you are working as a HR manager, correct? There you are doing multiple tasks. Maybe there you are on grade 1, grade, whatever the grading structure are there, your position will be different something. Now you move to some new company, you become a payroll administrator or payroll manager. So your assignment is changed. Earlier, you were working as a HR manager. Now you are working as a payroll administrator. After 2 years, maybe you got promoted. You become a payroll manager. Your assignment is changing. Personal information will not change. Your name is Chandan. It will remain Chandan throughout the year. You married to a person. It will remain throughout the year. And then your all your email, phone number, everything, it can change. But it is here. What is happening is that in an organization, when you are taking the multiple assignments or assignment is changing, that particular change of things is called as assignments. So assignment is different, personal information is different. I just gave you the example for personal information so that you can bifurcate what type of information we are storing in the system.
Okay.
So it can be explained as job title as well, is it?
Yes, so job title, maybe my grade, my working location, my departments, my line manager information, and any payroll component related to my assignments, how much salary I am withdrawing, that also you can define it as worker assignments.
So all the professional information related to that particular company, to that particular employee.
No, don't get confused. Professional is again totally different because we are going to learn the performance module as well over there. So there you will be having your education qualification. Now, education qualification is not your personal information. This is a professional information, correct? When you're applying for a job, you will give a detailed information. I am having a experience. I have a C-level certificate. Okay, I had done a certification. This is a professional information, correct? You are not telling, okay, I am married, I have 2 kids, my wife is that is a personal information.
Correct.
Professional information is, okay, this type of job I can do it. I had done an education qualification in this. I have experience of 20 years in this HR field. So this is a professional information. Assignment is in that particular organization, what work or what assignments I am doing. For example, if if I give you some assignment today, okay, you come and do this particular assignment. So what is happening? You are a student in this class and I am giving you certain assignments. Similarly, you are working for an organization and that work, what you are doing it, that assignments define that these are our assignments.
Okay.
Clear?
Okay.
And the legal employer is that for which company you are working. Now, company can be ultimate holding company, or under that company, there can be sub company, subdivision, subcontracting, anything where your when we are giving your tax file to the organization or to, sorry, not to the organization, to the government, they can identify, okay, you are working for this organization. For example, if you're applying for a loan, so they will ask the salary certificate. In the salary certificate, or company name will be mentioned. So that is a legal employer in this scenario, correct?
Okay. One more small doubt, Sumesh. Here it should be legal entity, right? But then here it's showing as legal employer.
Correct. Legal entity, again, see, when you in HR terms and in the trading part, legal entity is mainly on the trading part, not the HR part. When I am opening an office or when I am opening a company, I will require a trade license for doing the business. So what they will do, that if you require a trade license, you have to apply a trade license, you have to register as a legal entity. Entity, what is a definition of entity? Forget about the HR part, forget about the fusion part. Can anyone define what is entity?
It's a company name.
It's a company name, correct? So and the company name with the legal name itself. Correct. So when I'm taking a legal license, or when I'm taking a license to work under or forming a company, so who is my employer? Employer is my organization for which I am working for. So that's why we in the HCM system, we call that, instead of legal entity, we call it as a legal employer. And what is my relationship between the legal entity and legal employer? Whether this, see, you park it this, I don't want to confuse it between a legal entity and legal employer. We will see it again. You just keep in mind that for one legal entity, I can have one legal employer. I don't want legal employer as well. But in an organization, there can be one legal entity because that is required in any country. Now, up to me whether I can define one legal employer or multiple legal employer, which I can associate to a one legal entity. So it is one-to-many relationship.
Okay.
And Sumesh,
Yeah.
I've seen workers assignment. Is it where you can have So you could have multiple assignments, but only one can be active at a time. Is that right?
You can have
assignment.
yes, you can have a multiple assignments. At the one time, it can one single assignment may be active. At the same time, you can have a two assignments active also. So that's why worker can have two assignments. So for example, I joined a project team. Okay, I am a PMO certified person, and I can do the job of HR and I can do the job of IT as well. So instead of hiring a two-person, what company will do? They will give me the two assignments that partially from 4 hours I have to work for this particular department, and 4 hours I will work for this particular department. So I will be having two assignments in this case.
But you only have one like person number, right?
Yes.
You're gonna have the okay.
Yes, I will be having a single person number, but with multiple assignments.
Okay, yeah, because that was the bit that was confusing me a bit. Yeah, but yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and that's what, if you see, there is one lecture is there on this this employment model, 2-tier and 3-tier model. Okay.
Yeah.
So we will discuss on the 2-tier model, what we mean by 2-tier model and what we mean by 3-tier model. So that's why when you ask a question, when we are defining, this is very important point, because all these first 3 blocks are your decision maker. So when you're asking it, you have to ask from your customer whether the person can work one assignment or they can have multiple assignment. If they say they have multiple assignment, then the employment model will be 3-tier instead of 2-tier. Okay. If I have defined a 2-tier model, then in that scenario, I cannot create a multiple assignments. That is a difference in this employment model. So we will pick this topic maybe end of this week, maybe Friday we will cover this topic. But yes, so I can have a multiple assignments as well. And it's legal. In most of the countries, it's legal to have a multiple assignments.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Let's move to second part. Yeah. So this is just a theory part. You just for your understanding, if you want to recall it, you can use it. That what are my business unit and how it can be comprises of. I'm not going through the text material. You can just go through a part. Then what is the relationship between, again, this is again what we were discussing in detail. This is same concept is we had put it over there, that relationship between my worker assignments and the legal entities. See, Chanda, this is the definition. The legal entities that employ people are called legal employers in Oracle Fusion.
Got it.
So you must enter legal employer on a worker assignment. So legal entity will not be configurable in the system. Legal entity are mainly related to the finance people when they are dealing with the finance transaction. So there they say, okay, how many legal entity you are having it, how you do the transaction for this particular legal entity. But when it comes to the HR, it will normally always known as a legal employer. Legal employer give jobs to the employee. So an employee has to work under one particular legal employer. I will give you some example, then the concept will be get clear. So now other part is from the HR point of view is what is the relationship between my legal entity and the payroll reporting. So normally what happens is that in most of the taxation countries like India, US, UK, when we are processing the payroll, I have to pay a tax to the government. Okay, employee has to pay the tax to the government. So that's come as my payroll reporting part. Some countries having a social insurance, some paying the gratuity, some paying the social security as well. So this whole when we deal with such type of information, then under from which legal entities you are paying. Clear? So for example, if I'm having a pension fund, or if I am having a social insurance fund, or if I am having a social security where employer has to put some contribution and employee has to put some contribution. So when it comes the contribution from the employer end, so from which legal entity you are doing it. So here is a relationship between the legal entity and the payroll reporting unit. I hope that you know the concept on the payroll tax part, because this is purely an HR thing. I don't have to go into the detail on the payroll tax, social insurance, social security, or any other, like if we go in GCC, there can be, yeah, in social security in GCC's countries are also there, where different people, yeah, here in India also there are pensions funds are available for paying to the employee as a part of the pension, correct? So this, you are very much aware on the different taxation and different social security rules.
Yes.
All of you are aware of it, no?
Not much, Sumesh, because we have not done much on all these things.
Okay, so Chandan, you, if you want to, we have an understanding on the India part. Maybe what I will suggest, like just read some article on how this pension fund manage in India. Okay, so when you go through it, you will came to know that when I am giving a pensions, okay, now most of, in the recent days, most of the schemes has come out, not even for the employee, but even for the people, those who are not having a permanent or the contractual job. Government is asking to pay some amount to from the worker end, and then government will pay from their end. So the government is, what government is paying, it is something a social insurance for those particular people of the citizens. That comes the social security, that okay, and it's normally comprises of, see, it is very simple concept. If you are paying something, say for example, consider this stock, investing in your stock market, or investing in your mutual fund, anything you can take it. You are putting some money, at the end of the day you are getting some money which is come as a part of my interest rate. Similarly, when there is a contribution happen from the employer, and when some contribution have happened from the employee, so those type of combination normally happen from the pension fund, that okay, how much contribution are there from the employer, how much contribution are from the employee. In some countries, what happen is that there is a special social insurance fund given, or the social security is given by the government, like in US. So they always give social security to their employees. There is a unique SSN number is assigned to all the employees, those who are not even the employee, even the citizen, so that they are applicable to receive. So those are working in organization, so those organizations are bound to pay. Otherwise, government will pay if they are not on the job. So these are the concept. Like now, why it is important in HR point of view? Because if I am paying something, because I will be getting some tax relaxation, because I am a company, I'm running in an organization. So there are certain relaxation government given the corporate taxes. So that's why when we are paying it, so we have to find out that under which legal entities I am giving these fund, or where it is associated. Okay. Then in a fusion application of this, when we go into the payroll, we will dig down much in detail that what are my payroll statutory units are there to pay on the payroll taxes. Like again, I mentioned it that when we are paying our taxes, like employee has to pay taxes to the government, because what happened at the end, they were reconciled. I am working in an organization, I am getting a salary, whether I am paying tax or not. For US people, even if they are outside the US, they have to pay the tax. Okay, now some countries you have to pay taxes at the national level and even at the state level. Chandan, in India, it's at least at the state level, and if you are a central employee, you have to pay it to the central government. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
And in US and UK also, I think it is at the national level if you are working, and for some partial is going at the state level as well. Correct? US is at both the places, at national level as well and at the local level as well. Okay, so whenever you are defining your legal entity, you have to find out the relationship. So I will show you it in the system, then you will make it very much clear that how my legal entities are having a relationship with my payroll reporting unit. This is in a simple one, or in a layman term, what you have to understand: the taxes inflow, outflow, what we are dealing it has to be come through the legal entity, and we will define those legal entity in the system. Okay, now there are legal jurisdictions we have to create and address as an authority. Now, this is some concepts we have to keep in mind, that when we are defining it, there are certain laws which are required for the country. Like for example, in US it is called as a US income tax law, and India it is in Indian income tax. Correct, Chandan? And in the Singapore, they call it as a Singapore tax transaction tax law, and in France it's called as a French labor law. So these are the different name, and they have a jurisdiction that okay, that this is my physical territory or group of countries or state which we have to define it. Now this is coming as a part of my taxation only. So when we are defining a tax, this is another thing we have to create. So we have to create a legal jurisdictions. We will see in the system. Then this is the steps I had mentioned it. I will share this slide maybe on at the end. We will go through this. So now here, what assignments I want to give it to you. Here I had mentioned certain steps. So for example, the name, territory, the category, and the start date, and the registration code, which is EIN or TIN. This is as per the US, and some other countries also required. So you prepare one Excel sheet and you gather this information. Okay, maybe you can use the help of a Google for our countries, that what are my legal entry registration code. Take any dummy. You will not able to find the actual, but you can take a dummy number. You can take a LRU registration code, take a dummy from the system. So this highlighted, which is in the bold, name, territory, legislation, category, you have to keep ready. So when we are creating our own legal jurisdiction and address and authorities, you can able to enter those information in the system. Similarly, we will go and create the legal addresses. This is also required. So we will create, this is for the US example I had given. Maybe others can also start using. We have a geography, we have created it. So whatever I had put it in the bold, you have to keep ready with this information. So by tomorrow, we will go into the system and we will create them for our environment. Then legal authorities, what all authorities are required, so that we have to create that who all our legal authorities. We will create 2 legal authorities. So one is somewhere in the California, and somewhere in the other times is San Francisco. So maybe you can have information on the other legal authorities that you want to create it. And then we will define the legal entity, that how we can define our legal entity in the system. So this is this exercise, we will do it tomorrow. Okay. Any question on the legal entity part?
No, Sumesh.
Today is week start, correct? We have 3 days of off, and I am getting only 1 person and 2 person are responding, and rest of them are busy with their dinner. See, I mentioned it because this subject is little bit confusing, and this is not on your day-to-day regular basis, so no one pay attention, but this is very important when you are configuring the application. Okay, fine. Okay, now let's come to the legislative data groups. Now I will
please, can you explain the legal entity and payroll relationship with payroll reporting?
Okay, now 1 minute before I put a question, who can explain it to him? Because I just give a brief about the legal entities and the payroll relationship unit. We discuss about this. We discuss about this legal entity and the payroll reporting. Who can give him an idea? Okay, let's start some brainstorming session. Let's discuss with each other. We'll spend 5 minutes on this, and then we will. Then I will explain it to him. Yeah, Chandan, you want to take a lead?
Yes, it all depends upon the geography in which the legal entity is actually operating. Is it correct?
Yeah, continue. Wherever I feel I want to correct, I will correct it, Chandan, not an issue. Okay, and what next? Now his question is very straightforward. What is the relationship between the legal entity and the payroll reporting? So first, maybe what you can do is you can maybe ask him a question, what he mean by the payroll reporting. Okay.
Okay.
So, or you can explain him what is payroll reporting. Yeah, Mike, you want to try? No? Mike? I know you want to try to explain what is the relationship between legal entity and payroll reporting.
I think from my own understanding, it's like the accounting system or the way the legal entity which is registered for accounting purposes or financial year, like the way they calculate those. So it need to be mapped with the way the company operates in division.
Mm-hmm. Okay, tell me one thing. Let me ask a different question from everyone. Now everyone has to answer it. When I am paying my salaries to the employee, how it goes? Whether it goes directly to the banking through the banking system to the employees, or there is some middle person or middle company or someone is there in middle where it go for the validation.
There will be someone, definitely it will be outsourced to a payrolling company where they take care of the complete taxation, payrolling, everything.
Okay, now I'm not talking about the company who do the outsourcing part. So I'm talking purely from the taxation point of view now, and I'm not talking about the outsourcing model. I am just talking about that. Okay, if I am processing a payroll, okay, and if I'm paying, I'm transferring a salary on the pay date or to their employee. So how this whole process happened? Because this class will be having a payroll section also, and now the payroll topic has come. So let's discuss. So I will call one by one. If or you can take voluntary raise your hand who wants to answer it. I don't want to like feel you like okay I'm asking it. Who can answer it?
Well, I think you have like a every country's got like a local government or something that collects the taxes. So from a taxation point of view,
Yeah.
the company will have like a breakdown of their tax from a personal point of view and from the company as a whole. So you could tax at a local level, at the person level, or you could tax at the company as a whole, and it's driven by legislation within the country, and those taxes are from the company's tax office will be forwarded to local government or whatever, and so you have a legal entity that deals with that side of things, and it'll be pushed through to the local government, I think.
Perfect, Anthony. Yes. So that's a whole concept and the requirement of my legal entities. Anyone have any question on this? Because he explained it in a very crispy manner that why we require a legal entity when it comes to the payroll part. See, normally what happens when we deal with the governments, okay, when we deal with the public organizations or which are which who had given our licenses, so they don't have not only have to protect the rights of the company, but even they have to protect the rights of a employee as well. So they do the monitoring. They do the monitoring whether, because if I am paying a service tax on my salary, they should know that okay how much contribution their employer are doing it. I have to pay the corporate tax to the government, so they do the monitoring. Now when I'm defining a legal entity, I have to map it with my payroll reporting unit. Why it is required? There are multiple reasons are there based on the country itself. So if I take an example of US, I will be having a payroll taxes from the employee that I am going to pay the. There are different form of taxation which is happened, which I have to pay to the government, number one. So this is paid by the employee. Similarly, there is a social insurance which is associated, which government is paying it to the employee, but the government directly is paying it through these companies. So I have to map it. All reconciliation happened at the government end. I have taken a licenses in that particular country to operate my company. So this country or this legal entity has to be there as registered in my financial book, so that when any type of transaction we do it, it should be get registered. So the importance of the legal entity in the payroll is that when I am processing the payroll, when I am transferring the salary, when I'm doing a pension part, when I'm paying in some countries as a gratuity, when I am giving the social insurance side, So for maintaining these type of financial transaction, we will require a legal entity. And that's why we define them in a system that this is my legal entity associated to this payroll statutory unit. It's clear now?
Yes.
Yes, yes, and I understand it when you explain it in relation to tax and how different countries operate. Yeah, that makes sense now.
Okay, so we will see in the system. Then you will be see this is topic, you know, a little bit. It's very easy. It's not a rocket science, and you don't have to deal on the day-to-day basis. But yes, there are certain decisions that we have to take before defining the legal entity. Let's come to the next jurisdiction. I am not explaining much because this is we all know it. It is required for the income tax. It is required for the transaction on the tax. It is required from the different jurisdiction what are there. And this is the steps. We will do it by tomorrow. Just make a note of it. Maybe tomorrow when you see this information, you gather this information from your own, so it will be easy for you. Legislative data groups. Now what actually this legislative data group mean, or what we call as a LDG. Now this is a separate topic from the legal entity. This don't get confused that what is legislation, data, legal entity, nothing. Clear on mind, this is something, a new topic which we called as a LDGs, or we called as a legislative data group. It is important because we are going to learn on the payroll part. So it is required for partitioning my payroll data. So for example, if I am running a payroll for one company, I don't want to see the data of other company, because I want to keep my rules and regulation separate from one company to another company. So then what I will do, I will create a separate legislative data group. So whenever we are defining a payroll, or whenever we are defining the elements, or wherever we are defining the grade, or wherever we are defining the different components, we will list it down. Then a system will ask under which LDG you want to create. So for example, if I have a one company, one is US and one in UK, and I define UK legislative data group and US legislative data group. So here I will be having an option that when I am creating a payroll elements or payroll related information, I want to define in this particular legal data group or legislative data group. We will read this in detail when we go for the payroll section. Okay. Just keep in mind that whenever there is a requirement from the customer, I want to bifurcate my data. I want to keep a separate of my data from one country or one company to another company. Option is available. We can do it using the LDGs. Okay. Clear? We will discuss this in when we are discussing on the payroll part. Then there are different organization models are there. Now this models is just for the giving you some more clarity on the clarification. This how these models are work. This is not the 2-tier or 3-tier. These are totally different, which we are calling as a organization model. So number one is come as a simple configuration where I just have one legal entity, one legal employer, one jurisdiction, one division, one enterprise. So those we will define it as a simple configuration. But there can be multiple legal employers. There can be multiple tax reporting unit, because I am working in a US. One operation is totally different, another option is totally different. So I can define multiple legal employers and tax reporting units. Other is I can have a one PSU and 2 tax reporting unit. Other is I have a one PSU and several tax reporting unit. Other is I have a multiple payroll statutory unit with several tax groups. So multiple to multiple. So these are the different model that when we can create in the system. Now here our role or our task as a consultant will become what is best fitting for the organization. So to know that what is best fitting to the organization, we should have a clear understanding on the legal employer and the tax reporting unit. Okay. Number 3, we should have an understanding on the payroll statutory unit and the tax reporting unit. So the keyword that you have to keep, the concept that we have to keep in mind is payroll statutory unit, tax reporting unit. Are you clear about these two parts? Yes, we are very much clear. We know for this particular organization how many PSU we want, or how many tax reporting we want. So these are the different models that we can define in the system. Let's see that how this is going to be work for us. So if you can see this structure, we are having a one enterprise like Infusion Corporation. This is just a simple. Under this, I am having only one division, and under this, I create a one legal entity. Now, this legal entity will be a payroll structure unit as well, and my legal employer. Any question on this? Just understand, just visualize this part. No question on this?
No, we are still understanding, please.
Yeah, try.
I think it will come to make sense when we see it on the system, configuring it on the system.
Okay,
more.
fine.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So maybe what we will do is that we will see in the system tomorrow. See why I'm making it clear to you guys, because when we are defining the enterprise, we should have all the information available. I can go directly and create the enterprise, but it will not make sense for you, because from the concept wise, it is difficult for you to understand in the system directly. So here we are creating and putting some more stress on how these organization model works. So this is my simple configuration. Second is that I have defined one enterprise, one division, and under this I have a one legal entity. And then under this, I define this legal entity as PSU and legal employer. And then this combines the two tax reporting unit out there. Okay. This is an example of, just go through it. Let's go tomorrow into the system, then we will see that what I'm talking all about. Okay. We will come back again on these models tomorrow and to understand that what are these models all about. This slides, maybe what you can do is that tomorrow before the class, you may go through these different models, and then we will go through it. I know this topic is little bit confusing, but this is only the last painful topic. Once it is clear, everything will be coming as a very easy. Any question on this part? I think no from our side. What you got exhausted or what? Or concepts are not getting clear?
The second one.
Second one in the sense this models.
And yeah, models, we need some time. Means I need some time to understand. So which one?
Okay. Simple question. Did you understand what is legal entity?
Huh.
Okay. Everyone?
Yeah.
Legal entity. Legal employer?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Payroll reporting unit? Payroll reporting unit?
Means my understanding here is the particular unit where the payrolling happens, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tax reporting unit? No one knows tax reporting unit. Yeah, okay. So from the legal point of view, let me go and come over here. So this is the main thing you have to understand from the HR point of view, that whenever we are defining, this is the main thing you just take away from this today's class, is that when I am defining the legal entity, I should consider BU, I should consider division, I should consider worker assignment and legal employer, and the payroll reporting unit. So these are the 4 bullet points you have to put into the consideration when you are defining your legal entity. Clear? This much is clear or not?
Yes.
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 Anyone who does not understand these 4 points, please raise your hand. I will again explain it to you. So everyone knows that when I am creating a legal entities in the HR system, I am talking purely. That's why I have eliminated rest of the things. So you should not ask, or you should not get confused. What is ledger? What is balancing segment? What is consolidation rules? No. For you, you have to put a complete focus on these 4 items. Fine. So what we will do is that tomorrow we will create our enterprise, And before that, whatever the things are required for creating a legal entity, we will do it. So tomorrow we will, our job is to fill this information. Maybe you all have this Excel sheet with you.
No, Sumesh, I don't have.
No, why?
No, I don't have as well.
Oh.
It's not in this where the slide shared. It's not there.
It's on the Google Drive. It was shared last week. If you check your email.
Okay, I will ask the coordinator to share this with you again. Okay.
Yeah.
So what you have to do is that you have to fill this information from your understanding. Okay. Is it possible for you guys to fill this information?
Yes.
Whatever we know, like we'll do.
You can ignore from here. Don't worry about reference data set, BU set, and reference set. You can ignore this section, but you can fill these information. Okay.
Okay.
And then we will go and define in the system that how it's going to be look like and how our enterprise is going to be look like.
Sumesh, here in this sheet, you have mentioned legal entity identifier. What does it mean?
This is a unique identifier number. Whenever we do the registration with the government, they give us a unique, maybe 16-digit, 14-digit, 10-digit number. You can put any dummy number. It does not make sense for us because we are not defining the actual implementation. But whenever you are going for the implementation, you have to ask this information from your customer. They will provide you. They have these numbers with them.
Achha.
All these information are mandatory. So they will provide you this complete information. It's their accountability. Because this legal identifier, legal entity registration number, legal reporting number are all get registered or generated when I'm registering my company with the government.
Okay. And then what do you mean by this primary industry on the top?
Primary industry is like whether my industry is retail, whether it is motors or whether it is defense. Yeah, this one primary industry is what business I'm doing.
Okay.
So this we will do exercise tomorrow and then see how it going to work.
So it means the legal part of it, we have to make it up, isn't it? The second part of the